Hi, good morning, everyone, and thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Juan Morales, Senior Staff Field Application Engineer for SmartHQ service here at GE Appliances. It is an absolute pleasure to be with each and every one of you today, and we welcome you to this YouTube live session. This is actually my second YouTube live session that I'm conducting since I started working for GE Appliances, so I'm very, very excited. And today we have a lot of really good material to cover. And we're going to present to you information on how you can leverage the SmartHQ service app to help you diagnose some very common dishwasher symptoms. So what I have here is a GE profile dishwasher. And of course, we're going to be using this throughout the presentation. Just want to show you real quick. We're going to be doing a side-by-side view of the application itself, along with, of course, the dishwasher, right? So we're going to show you what's going on internally and all that good stuff. And of course, we're going to go to a PowerPoint presentation as well to show you some more information, right? So lots of material to cover today. Again, welcome everyone for joining us. So let's go ahead and quickly get started, right? First thing I want to mention real quick here before we move on is that we do have a website, okay? And that website is smarthqservice.com. And please feel free to log in anytime. We have a lot of very useful information there, training videos, information on how to order your device, all of that good stuff. And of course, you can always call us at 502-714-2029 if you need to place an order for the SmartHQ service tool, or if you just have general questions that you need answered, all right? So again, very, very important that you know that we do have our website and our YouTube channel as well, all right? SmartHQ service. Just type that into YouTube and you'll be able to see all of our great training material. All right, my friends. So let's go ahead and quickly get started. Now, we're going to first begin, as always, with our mission statement, and that is to leverage existing GE appliance service software systems and documentation to deliver efficiency gains to service technicians through an easy-to-use mobile portal. All right, and I want to emphasize, my friends, that this application has been around for many, many years, has been used by our GE factory service technicians. They rely on it to diagnose and fix GE appliances very, very quickly. And of course, we're extending this service to you out there. Okay, we want to make sure that you have the same advantage as our GE factory service technicians because we believe that's very important. Not only is it going to make your life easier, it's going to make you more efficient, but also it's going to help you have happier customers, right? The faster, the quicker you can get your customers up and running, the more happy they'll be with you. And of course, we want them to give you top ratings, right? 5 stars on reviews. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the agenda now. And what you're going to learn is how to use SmartHQ service when the dishes are not drying, right? So this is a very common issue with dishwashers. The customer will complain about the dishes coming out wet. So to help you overcome that, first we're going to do a quick recap of the cycle history feature. I'll get into that. Then we're going to test some components using the operate loads feature, and the watch box will help us monitor other components. And of course, we're going to run a heater test because without heat, you won't have efficient drying. The second topic we'll be diving into will be when the dishes come out dirty, okay? And this is a huge one, my friends. A lot of customers, even if the machine is working perfectly well, they'll still complain about dirty dishes. And a lot of the times that has to do with the detergent they're using, or maybe they're not loading the dishwasher properly, things like that. But of course, when there are issues with the dishwasher, you need to be able to diagnose those relatively quick. So we're going to show you how to do that, all right? Of course, we're going to use operate loads to run some components and the circulation pump test to ensure that water is being channeled properly throughout the dishwasher cavity. And last but not least, the dishwasher not draining. This is huge, right? A lot of the times you'll find that customers simply, for example, they have a kinked hose, right? Because maybe a DIYer installed it themselves, or they didn't install a high loop drain, right? Things of that nature. So we're going to show you some quick tips to overcome that quickly, but then we're going to get into how to troubleshoot the control board, because believe it or not, my friends, there are instances in which the control board may need to be worked on in order to get the drain pump running, right? In order to get the machine to drain properly. So that's essentially what the agenda is going to consist of today, those 3 things. And again, we have a lot of material to cover, so let's quickly get into it. And I want to just go over very fast the system itself, right? The SmartHQ service diagnostic system. And basically, at the heart of it is that Bluetooth module that you see right there in the middle. And that Bluetooth module is what's going to help you communicate between your mobile device and the appliance. And all you essentially have to do is connect the Bluetooth module using an RJ45 cable to the Ethernet port on the dishwasher. Now, in the case of dishwashers, typically the Ethernet port is going to be located behind the toe kick plate, right below there. And once you establish communication, now you can talk to the machine, right? You can ask it, well, not verbally, but essentially the machine, you can diagnose it. And for example, this little cartoon character here is saying, how's your circulation pump doing? The machine says everything's good, and you're now communicating with the machine. So now you can find out what's wrong with it. But in addition to the diagnostic features, you also have access to cloud-based service documentation. And what that means for you is that you can instantly get access to things like schematic diagrams, service bulletins, mini manuals, and all of that information that you would normally have to look for on the service website. It's right at your fingertips because the app has been optimized so that when you connect to the appliance, it's immediately going to pull all the information that is related to that appliance. So you don't have to go digging through the thousands and thousands of documents that we have on our service website. That's going to save you a ton of time. All right, so that being said, my friend, let's go ahead and quickly get into the presentation here. The first topic, the dish is not coming out dry. And of course, I said I want to do a quick recap of the cycle history feature. This is huge because in the event that you have a customer that's complaining about the picture that you see right there that I put on the screen, the dish is coming out wet. Sometimes you very well know this, right? Sometimes the customer is simply selecting a different cycle, maybe a shorter cycle. Perhaps they're not using enough rinse aid, whatever the case may be, right? So, or they selected the wrong drying method. Maybe they turned off the drying altogether. So the only way for you to know that is there's a couple ways. You can ask the customer, and of course, every customer is 100% honest. They're always going to tell you, exactly how they use their machine, right? So that's one way to do it. But in lieu of that, what you can do is access our cycle history feature, which again, when you open up the application and you connect to the device, you can instantly get access to the last 5 dishwasher cycles. And what that means is that you could tell how this customer has been using their machine. Now, in this particular example, you see the graph right there, the red line indicates the cycle duration time. But if we look deeper into the data, and this, of course, you can access it right through the app, we can see that here's the last 5 cycles. So cycle number 23, 24, 25, and 26, the customer selected the automatic cycle. And the cycle duration time was approximately 180 minutes or so. But as you can see, the cycle number 27, they selected the express cycle, whether by accident or on purpose, whatever the case may be. And that caused the cycle duration time to drop to only 60 minutes. So bingo, right there, my friends, you found your answer. The reason why the dishes came out wet is because the customer selected a cycle that is shorter, that perhaps the heater doesn't run for an extended period of time enough to dry the dishes, and that's the only issue. So this would be, excuse me, this would be a no defect found situation in which you would have to explain to your customer otherwise, right? But sometimes if, depends on how you say it, they may not believe you, or they may just say, okay, yeah, you're telling me there's nothing wrong with the machine. All right, whatever. And then you leave the house. And of course, a couple days later, they'll call you back and say, Mr. Technician, guess what? Dishes are coming out wet again. Come back to my house. And at that time, it's on your dime, right? That second or third visit, you're paying for that. The customer's not paying for that. Most service companies will, guarantee their work for 90 days, things like that. So it's going to cost you. And again, going back to this, my friends, being able to have this, having this information available at your fingertips allows you to easily explain it to your customer, just like this technician is doing. So here he's saying something like, maybe like, ma'am, nothing is wrong with your dishwasher. Everything's working to perfection, but you selected the express cycle. And let me show you how to, select the automatic cycle so this never happens again. And this will save unnecessary service visits, which on average, as you can see on the screen right there, are costing approximately $107, right? Now, this is not an arbitrary number we came up with. This is a number we came up with after doing extensive research. It costs you and your business on average $107 to send a technician out to the customer's home. when you take into consideration the price of gas, salary, vehicle maintenance, all of that good stuff, you're spending over $100 just to put a technician in the customer's home when you don't have to. So if you can leverage the application to increase your first time completion rate, you can dramatically lower the cost of operating your business. And of course, this is going to make you much, much more profitable. So keeping that in mind, my friends, please make sure that if you do have this application, use the cycle history feature to your advantage. And if you don't have it, please visit us. Our website, smarthqservice.com, or you can call us 502-714-2029. All right, my friends, so let's go ahead and quickly move on. And now I want to do a hands-on demonstration. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to connect our mobile device to the appliance. All right, and I'm going to just go ahead and put myself on the screen here so that you could see that everything that I am doing on the iPad here is happening on the screen down below. Okay, you could see it side by side. So the first thing I'm going to do is just going to open up the SmartHQ service application. It's as simple as that. You open it up and it will log you in. Of course, you'll need to enter your login credentials, but I've already done that. And then a few seconds, the application will connect to the appliance. So what's happening now, it's connecting to the Bluetooth module, and it is extracting all the information from the dishwasher so that we know what's going on. All right, so let me just put this down. It's going to be a little bit easier for me to work with. And once it's connected, you will see the dashboard screen. Now, the dashboard screen is a very important thing that you need to be aware of, because right then and there is where you're going to be able to see if you require a firmware update, if you have any fault codes or any alerts. And of course, that information can be crucial to diagnosing the machine. That's essentially your diagnosis. So as we can see right here, we have no need for a firmware update. I actually did a firmware update on this machine some time ago, and everything was worked out well. And there are no fault codes. So in essence, this machine doesn't really have any issues. That being said, we're still going to show you how to operate the loads and how to run the tests. Okay. Now, if you look further below, you have access again to service manuals, mini manuals, and lots more information. Okay, so this is your dashboard, and again, that's how easy it was for me to connect to the appliance. One of the things I want to mention is that in lieu of this, what I would have had to do to get access to the fault codes in the machine is press a series of buttons, right? So I would have had to sort of press a number of keys in a very specific order, and of course, for me to memorize every single dishwasher, every washing machine, and let alone every manufacturer is pretty difficult. So by simply connecting using my mobile device, I was able to extract all that information, right away. All right, my friends, let's quickly move on to the topic that we want to cover, which is dishes not drying. And first thing I want to mention is, for proper drying performance, you do need heat and airflow. Okay, absolutely 100%. You have to have those two, otherwise your dishes will not come out dry. Now, what's nice about the SmartHQ service app is that we can test the heating element and we can test the door fan as well. So there's your heat and there's your airflow. But in addition to that, what I want to do today is I want to show you how to use or how to read the information from the watch box, because in here you will find information related to other components such as the diverter, thermistor, turbidity sensor, and pressure sensor, among others. Now, what's really cool about this is that once you understand what these things do, how they function, which I'll explain throughout this training, you will be able to instantly find out if there's another issue that's causing, for example, the dishes not to dry, or maybe you have a no drain condition or an overfill condition, things like that. Okay, by understanding those parameters in the watch box, that's going to give you the entire visibility to the whole dishwasher system, and you'll be able to better diagnose in future repair calls. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly get started. And the first thing we're going to do is going to access that Operate Loads menu. So what I'm going to do, again, I'll put myself up here in the upper corner. We're going to press the Next button. Then we're going to press Operate Loads. And now we need to enter service mode, okay, in order to activate components. So this little button down here that says Enter Service Mode, we're going to click it, and the screen, as you can see, just turned red. This is an indication that I have full control of the dishwasher using my iPad. Think of this, all right? Just put this into perspective for a second, my friends. When a customer sees you using your mobile device as a remote control for their appliances, when I've been to ride-alongs and customers see this, they are blown away by this technology. They're like, "What? You're telling me that your iPad or your Android device, because this app works with both Android and iOS, forgot to mention that before. You're telling me that you can use that as a remote control to activate the heater, the wash, the spray arms, and all that?" And the technician's like, "Absolutely, Mr. or Mrs. Customer. We use modern technology, and that's how we're going to diagnose your machine." So anyway, let's go ahead and quickly move on. We're going to press the Operate Loads key, and that takes us into the menu where we can find our water valve, our heating element, things like that. So I said I'm going to test the heating element. So let me just go ahead and close the door. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill the unit with water. All right. So this is how you would do it in the field. Exactly what I'm doing is what you would do in the field if you want to test the heater. So we're going to turn the water valve on, and that is going to run for approximately 60 seconds or so. Okay. The machine will fill. Now I can hear it filling. Obviously, you can't see what's going on because the door is closed. But a little bit later on, we're going to put a clear cover so that you can see what's happening inside. Okay. So the water is starting to enter the unit. Now, if we open the watch box, okay, I want to show you this feature right here. The watch box is basically telling us that water is entering the unit, believe it or not, via the pressure sensor, the water pressure parameter. Okay, so as you can see that number in frequency in hertz, right? 40.64 right now it's saying. That number will begin to drop as water enters the dishwasher cavity, all right? Because as water enters, the pressure increases and the frequency drops, all right? So all you need to know is as the machine fills, that number, that water pressure number, the frequency will drop, all right? So that's what I wanted to just sort of introduce you to right now. All right, so we're completely filled right now, and you might be asking, well, how do I know what number indicates that the machine is filled? Well, right below, my friends, right below that, if you see, let me see if I can kind of show you over here, it says expected pressure sensor readings, right? And then it says typical fill, 40.77 to 40.44 hertz. And if we look at our watch box, it says for water pressure, 40.60 hertz. So that's right on the money, okay? That means that dishwasher cavity is filled. And guess what, my friends? One of the nice things about having SmartHQ service is that all of this information is at your fingertips right away. So having SmartHQ service with you is almost like having a GE technical support agent with you at all times because you have access to all this great information. Otherwise, you would have to call tech line and say, "Hey, if you didn't understand what that number meant, or how do you know, you might ask, how do I know if the unit is filling correctly?" Things like that. They would have to explain that to you. Well, it's all right here. All right, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to activate that heating element. So again, with my application, all the way at the top, you see that it says water heater test. We're going to turn it on. So I'm just going to click the button on, and we're going to let it run. There's a relays. I heard it. We're going to let it run for approximately 30 seconds, let's just say. Okay. Now, one of the nice things that you can see here also on the watch box, let me show you, is the temperature value. Now, the temperature is read through the thermistor, right? So the thermistor is reading the temperature that's in the water, but right now the water is only showing about 70 degrees because, again, I didn't prime my sink over here. I just let the water enter. So whatever water was in those pipes from my water heater all the way to the dishwasher was probably about approximately 70 degrees. Now, that being said, this heater has been running for about 40 seconds. So I think that's enough time to see if it's hot. And let me show you how personally I would test this in the field. So we're going to shut it off so it doesn't, run for too long. We're going to open the door here, and then we're sort of going to just splash a little bit of that water. Whoa, there it is. And that is sizzling, my friends. You could hear it, and you can see the smoke coming out. So that's what I wanted to show you. That is one of the easiest ways to test your water heater. All right. You could touch it, but you'll leave a little tattoo on your fingers if you do that. So I wouldn't do that. All right, so we tested the heater right then and there. The next thing I want to do, I want to show you how to test the door fan, right? Because we said we need heat and airflow. So we're just going to go ahead and it's right there. Door fan is the second item down. Now I want to position the door so you can sort of see where, yeah, there. There it is, right there. I think you could see the door fans right there. And for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move my microphone and place it on top of it, and we're going to run it, and you're going to hear the fan running. Okay, it's kind of difficult to show you what's going on inside because we'd have to take it apart and put a camera right there. But with audio, we can sort of simulate it. Here we go. All right, and I think you can hear it running. And we're going to turn it off. All right, there it stopped. And just for sanity purposes, we're going to run it one more time. There it is. And let's shut it off. Okay. All right. So there we go. All right, my friends. So that's how you test the. That's how I would test the door fan. Very, very easy. Of course, if it's not running, if you can't hear it running, you can also sort of put your hand over it a little bit, and you'll be able to. So if you kind of put your hand above it, you'll be able to feel a little bit of the air movement there. That's sort of pulling in the air. But anyway, if it's not working, obviously you would have to replace it. Now, again, these two tests that I just performed right here, the heater and the door fan, you can do them in various different ways, right? You can start the machine, run a cycle, and let it sit there for God knows how long, and then you can open the door and see if the heater, actually worked. Or you can enter service mode by pressing a series of keys in a very specific order. Good luck trying to remember every single machine out there in the world. You can do it that way, but of course, with SmartHQ service, as you saw, turning on individual components is as easy as turning on a light switch, just on and off, on and off. All right, my friends, let's go ahead and quickly move on to the next test that I wanted to show you. So next, we're going to actually go to the heater test. And this heater test is a subsystem test of the entire heating system, which of course is going to activate your drain pump, your water valve, your circulation pump. It is also going to monitor the position of the diverter. And of course, needless to say, it will activate the heater and our temperature sensor will begin to detect the rise in temperature. Essentially, what we'd like to see, just like in this example, whatever our starting temperature is, which you can see on the status column right there, it's 80 degrees. After maybe about 8 minutes or so, we want to see a significant rise in temperature, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 degrees. And that's a pretty good indication that the heating element is working. And of course, the sensor is working as well, the thermistor, because it is detecting a change in temperature. All right. So again, my friends, what I want to do here real quick is just show you how to run that test. First thing we'll need to do, I want to get rid of that water that's in there. Okay. You can see the water still sort of lingering there. And one of the things that SmartHQ service tells you right there, it says it, important, please drain all water before leaving. So to do that, I'm going to simply activate my drain pump by turning it on. And there it is. I can hear it going down the sink, and you're going to see the water sort of start to disappear and just go away. There it goes. Going, gone. All right. We got rid of all the water, so I'm just shutting it down right now. And now we are able to run our next test. Now, to show you the next test, all right, to actually demonstrate to you how the unit operates internally, what I've brought with me is a nice clear door, which I'm going to attach to this, and we'll share the part number with you in a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's take that door, and it's very, very easy to attach. You simply have to sort of slide it down the bottom, make sure that strike hits real well there, and there we go. There's the door. Now I'm going to be able to show you, the camera is going to be able to pick up the water as it enters the dishwasher cavity. You're going to see the spray arms moving around, all of that good stuff, okay? So very, very important that, that you have this door with you at all times. All right, so let's go ahead and run this test. So to do that, we're going to hit the back key because we're still in operate loads. Then we are going to move to diagnostic tests. So you see right here on the iPad, it says move to diagnostic tests. We're going to click that button. And then we're going to press the heater test button. Now we have access to that heater test, and we can simply begin. Again, the status column is going to indicate when the drain pump is running, when the water valve is running, all of these things. But the most important thing that I want you to focus on, right, during this test is the temperature value. When I hit the start key, whatever that temperature is, it's going to go on the status column, and then it's going to stay there. But the next column, the one that says value, that is going to be our rise in temperature. So let's go ahead and do it. Press start key. All right, so the test has begun. The first thing that SmartHQ service does, again, in the interest of preventing your house from being flooded or your customer's house, is it's going to activate the drain pump for about 60 to 70 seconds. All right, so we can see the drain pump is running right now. And it's been running for about 15, 17 seconds, something like that. It's going to continue to run just to ensure that all of the water that's in there has gotten out, okay? So while it's doing that, let me go ahead and show you something else related to the watch box feature. If we open up the watch box, take a look at the water pressure parameter all the way at the bottom, okay? Now that number is, we'll call it relatively high in terms of value, right? It's at 44.18 hertz. What this means, right? Keep in mind this number for dishwashers at the very least. 44.1, 44.2 hertz is indicative of a completely empty dishwasher cavity, right? It doesn't have any water in there. Now, as water enters, you're going to see that number begin to drop. So let me go ahead and show you over here. Notice that the drain pump is now at about 1 minute and 7 seconds. So now the water valve has turned on, and let me open up that watch box parameter again so you can see the water pressure value. And you can see that as water is entering the cavity, and by the way, you can see it right there. The water is, you can see it through the clear plastic door. Water is coming inside the cavity. The water pressure value is beginning to drop. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the end value, right? The final value once the cavity is filled, it's going to be somewhere between 40.44 and 40.30 hertz, somewhere in that neighborhood. Now, the beauty of this is, if you haven't picked this up already, is that now I've verified right through this test that my water pressure sensor is working to perfection. That's one less item that I have to worry about. So again, the cavity continues to fill. Just some information that I wanted to share with you because I think it's very important that you understand what these numbers mean. You don't want to just open up this watch box and say, all right, that's a bunch of pretty numbers. What do they mean? All right, so now you can see that the circulation pump is on, right? We can see that in our status column, and water is starting to come out of the spray arm. So I think it's going to come out of the, yep, there it is, the bottom spray arm. So you could see it going round and round and round and round. And in the diverter position status column, right there, you see that the app is displaying lower spray arm system clockwise. This is actually pretty amazing, my friends, because what SmartHQ service is doing, it's actually speaking directly with the control board of the dishwasher, and it's finding out if the control board knows which position the diverter is in. So not only have I already verified using the watch box my pressure, my water pressure sensor, but also I have verified that the diverter is communicating correctly with the main PCB. So if this diverter position read, for example, upper spray arm right now, and water's coming out of the lower spray arm, this would be an indication that there's a problem, right? Either with communication or maybe the reed switches aren't lining up correctly with the magnets. You know, who knows, right? But in any case, SmartHQ service would have pointed you in the right direction of where the problem may be at. So what this test is doing essentially is it's moving the water around, right? It's splashing it all over the place. And because the heater is on, you can see it right there in the status column. The heater is on. It's been on for about a minute and let's say 30 seconds now. As that water moves around, it's going to make contact with the heater. And as it makes contact, of course, the temperature in the water will rise. And you can see the change right away. The change is, well, it's started at 40 degrees. I think that's just, seems like it's a little bit of a glitch of how my sensor detected the water. Maybe there was a little bit of cold water and that's what it detected. But you can clearly see that the temperature is rising. So let's keep the focus on the value parameter right there. And we're at about 2 minutes, and we're at 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so let's keep that number in our minds. 2 minutes, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we're going to come back and revisit that in a little bit. But as you can see, now the upper spray arm is working. And let's take a look if SmartHQ service actually detects that the upper spray arm is working. And there it is. Diverter position, upper spray system. So very, very intelligent. It's able to detect that. And of course, this is by detecting the position of the diverter, which way the water channels through. All right. So again, my friends, this test, you can use it. What I would recommend is you to use this test. It's about 11 minutes. So it's going to run for about 11 minutes or so. Use this as a post-repair verification test. Once you're done maybe replacing the heater, the thermistor, your diverter valve, things like that. Because as this test is running, first of all, you're going to find out if the unit is functioning correctly. But also during that time, you could be putting away your tools, cleaning up your area, speaking with your customer about their bill, anything like that. All right, my friends, what I want to do during this time, I don't want you to just look at this thing spin round and round and round in circles. I want to show you a little bit about that turbidity sensor, okay? Because one of the parameters that we looked at here, I didn't really talk too much about it, is the turbidity parameter. You see it right there in the watch box, okay? That turbidity parameter is showing right now a number of 352. So you might be asking, what is that? What does that number mean? What in the world is that? So to explain that a little bit better here, my friends, if we go to the slide that I have here, this is what the turbidity sensor looks like. The turbidity sensor measures the soil levels in the water. So essentially, what it does is it helps eliminate unnecessary rinse cycles, and that, of course, is going to save energy and time. And the way it works is that when the water is clear, as you can see in that clear cup all the way to the left there, it is considered low turbidity. And the value, as far as that number that you saw, is going to be somewhere between 0 and 1,000. So if we go back over here to our parameter, let's open it up again. We can see the turbidity value is 147. And it's moving around because, of course, the water is being splashed all over. But in general, that value is low enough because we're putting in clean water that it's somewhere between 0 and 1,000, right? That's relatively clean water. Now, if the water was a little bit dirtier, it would be between 1,000 and 3,000. And when the water is really dirty, it has high turbidity, the value will be somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000, okay? So again, we go back here, we can see that our turbidity value is 278. Regardless of what the number is, it is way below 1,000, so that means we have relatively clean water. So I thought that was pretty cool to share with you. And please know that if that turbidity sensor fails, the cycle time will be extended 100%. Your customer may be complaining about extended cycle times, right? Hey, how come my dishwasher, used to take an hour and a half to do the dishes? Now it's taking, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever the case may be, right? And one of the things that might be wrong with it is your turbidity sensor. So with SmartHQ service, you can tell right here if it's bad. And by the way, if it was bad, it would show a red number, or the numbers would be shown in red. So right away, you know that there's a problem with it, and you can go ahead and replace it. And just like that, you resolve the customer's issue. So very, very easy tool to use. Very important parameter to remember. Very important component. Now, within the turbidity sensor itself, you do have a thermistor. Okay. Now, before I move on to the thermistor, just one thing I want to mention real quick about the turbidity sensor, in case you're wondering more details. The way that it actually works, the way that it detects the soil levels is on one side, there's a photodiode that emits light, and then on the other side is a receiver, we'll call it. Okay. So what happens is if the light is clear, it is able to pass through very, very easily. But if it's dark, like you see there with high turbidity, it's going to have a hard time shining through to the other side. And of course, that is how the control board will determine whether you have dirty water or clean water, and whether or not you need extra rinse cycles or not. So I just wanted to share that real quick for those of you brainiacs out there that want to know a little bit more about this stuff. All right, that being said, again, the thermistor is located inside of the turbidity sensor. So if your thermistor goes bad, guess what? You're replacing that turbidity sensor. And just to give you a little bit more information here, the value, if you want to measure the thermistor just to test it, at room temperature, the resistance value is going to be approximately 10 kiloohms. So you would basically put your multimeter probe across pins 11 and pins 8 on connector J806, just like our wiring diagram shows right there. And you would be able to measure the resistance of that thermistor. And of course, if it doesn't check, 10 kilo ohms at room temperature, you probably have an issue with the thermistor. You may want to replace it. But again, using SmartHQ service, we are able to tell here that it is working because we don't have to do any, it doesn't take a resistance measurement to find out that we're already at 98 degrees Fahrenheit, as you can see right there. And the reality of it is we've ran this for about 5-6 minutes, and it's already gone up from, what did we say, 82 degrees to about 99. So that number that I talked about earlier, all right, that 20-degree swing or rise in temperature rather, that's there. So clearly your heating element is working. And of course we saw that earlier, but I just wanted to emphasize it with this test. But also your thermistor is able to pick up the temperature, so everything is working properly. And of course the test is over now. Wow, that was a pretty long test, but anyway, it's over now, and the water will begin to drain. The water is exiting the machine. And again, I want to reemphasize the pressure parameter there, the water pressure. You can see that as the water exits the unit, the pressure decreases, and of course that frequency number is going to begin to go up. Okay, we can see it sort of going up there, and ultimately it's going to end at about 40. What do we say? 44 hertz, somewhere in that neighborhood. Okay, so it's going to take a little bit of time, but it'll get there eventually. All right. So again, my friends, very, very easy test to run. Nothing too crazy. Of course, I want to share the part number for this door with you because a lot of you are probably asking, where can I get that door? So let me go ahead and show you that here. That door part number, you can see it up there, is WX05X20002. All right, and this door, you can order it actually right from the SmartHQ service app. You have the ability to do that. Again, having this door is really, really useful. In fact, not having this door is almost as bad as not having SmartHQ service with you at all times, okay? Because it's going to make your job so much easier. Plus, it's something nice for the customer to look at. They'll be like, oh, cool, is that how my dishwasher works? So it works in many, many ways, okay? You use these little things to your advantage, okay, whenever you can. Trust me, it actually does work out there in the field. Did it for a very long time. All right, let me go ahead and share some more information with you. Now that this test is over, we're just going to sort of get out of here for a minute, exit service mode, let the machine sort of breathe a little bit, right? Rest a little bit. All right, I want to show you something here related to the to the literature of the appliance. Okay, remember I talked to you about that that turbidity sensor value before, right? The parameter that read between 0 and 1,000 when it's clean water and all that good stuff. Well, I didn't just come up with that information from thin air. I actually found it right on the SmartHQ service app, and I want to show you where I found it. If you go to the appliance literature right over here, click on that button, and then you press turbidity information, boom, right there you have the values that I put on the PowerPoint slide that you saw earlier. Let me see if I can actually share them again. Right there, those values, I got them right from the application. Okay, I didn't make these up. These were found right here. So that's why when I tell you that having SmartHQ service with you at all times, it's like having a GE technical support with you at all times. That's 100% true, okay? Because this information is going to be the key to your success when you're out there trying to diagnose a complex issue, especially one that sometimes may not be very easy to find out what the defect is, right? Those no defect found cases. All right, so I just wanted to share that information with you, and let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. All right, so the next one is the dishes coming out dirty. All right, this is a pretty common issue, right? Pretty common complaint that your customers might say to you, hey, my old dishwasher used to clean the dishes sparkling clean. This one doesn't do it, whatever the case may be. Now, again, proper loading, proper use of detergent, making sure that you put rinse aid in the machine, proper cycle selection, all of that is paramount to the success of how the dishes are going to be cleaned, right? If they're going to be cleaned or not. But sometimes, again, that's very difficult to explain to a customer, especially if you don't know what's going on internally. So you can leverage the cycle history feature, again, to find out what cycle they selected, whether or not they turn on the heater, if they activated a heating cycle, things like that. All right. But obviously, if you find out that everything is good, it could be related to one of the components that's not working properly. Okay. And to sort of demonstrate that, I want to show you here this slide. So first and foremost, for the dishes to come out clean, water must be diverted properly to every area of the dishwasher. Okay, that is key for optimum cleaning performance. And of course, what's going to allow you to do that is going to be the circulation pump and the diverter system. Needless to say, in operate loads, we are going to test the circulation pump, and we are going to test the diverter as well. But in addition to that, we're also going to check your detergent dispenser, okay? Because it's important that thing functions, all right? So what I'm going to do here is just kind of show it on the screen. We're going to close it up. One of the most common things that you might see out there sometimes, my friends, is customer puts a big dish in front of that cup dispenser, right? That detergent dispenser. And in this machine, it's not really a problem because it just sort of slides up. In other machines, it sort of flaps out, and if it's not allowed to flap out because there's a big plate covering it, that could be an issue. But in any case, okay, the point is here we want to test it. We want to make sure that it functions. Otherwise, we need to replace it. Now, again, you could enter test mode by pressing a bunch of little keys there and trying to activate it, or you could just close the machine, run a cycle, and wait 10 to 15 minutes, right, for that thing to pop open. But who has time for that? You have kids, you have girlfriends, you have a ton of things that you have to do out there. So there's no time, there's no 10 minutes. We want to do this in 1 second. Let me go ahead and show you how that's done. So we're going to press operate loads. Then we're going to enter service mode right here. We're going to click operate loads again. And I'm just going to go ahead and slide all the way to the bottom here. And I'm just going to press that button. And in 1 second, you're going to see it go on. So pay attention because this is going to go quick. There it is. All right. That's a beautiful thing. Just like that, we were able to activate that dispenser. And by the way, you can also activate the rinse aid dispenser. Put a little bit of rinse aid in there. When you activate it, you're going to be able to see the little rinse aid kind of drip out. And that's indicative of that dispenser working correctly. Let me show you that again because it was so fun. I'm going to close it. Again, all I'm going to do is press the on key right here. And there it is. All right. I could do this all day long. It's so much fun, but I'm not gonna do that to you today. All right. So that's how we test the detergent dispenser. We call it here the main cup dispenser. Very, very simple. Okay. But what I really want to get to here is the circulation pump test, because this is going to allow us to see if our diverter is able to channel water to every part of the dishwasher. That's very, very important to the performance of the cleaning performance. And of course, we're also going to be looking at the watch box to understand some of the other parameters as well as this test is running. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. The first thing we're going to do, again, in operate loads, we're going to fill our dishwasher with water. Right. And to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and press the water valve test. So we're going to turn it on. There it is. I'm going to take a look at my watch box to see what my frequency is. And again, I started with a high frequency, about 44 hertz, and it is going to drop to about somewhere between 40.77 and 40.44 hertz. Again, my friends, this is, I want you to not necessarily memorize these values, but I want you to understand what this number means, okay? Because in the event that you have a condition where the machine is overfilling, or you have a no drain condition, things of that nature, it could be your water pressure sensor that's the culprit, right? It's not necessarily something physical that's obstructing the water from moving around. It could be that sensor. And the more you understand about how to read the frequency for this particular sensor, the better informed you will be when making the choice to have to replace parts or diagnose elsewhere. All right, so that's why I emphasize this number. And again, because the pressure is rising, that's when the water enters, the internal pressure rises, the frequency will drop. And as you can see right now, it's dropped to the lowest point because the test is done. The water valve test is over. So now we have water in the cavity. And now what I want to do is actually begin to activate the circulation pump. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to activate the lower spray arm. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And first, the water seems to be coming out of the silverware blast nozzle. This is because the diverter has to sort of get into the home position. And now we're able to see the water coming out of the lower spray arm, which was my selection, okay? So I'm going to show you a little bit later on how the diverter works, how it moves around, and how it shifts water to different areas of the dishwasher. But let's get through this test first. So again, we're testing the circulation pump. We're just seeing, first of all, if the pump is running, which it is, and we're seeing if our diverter is able to channel water out of the area that we selected. So I selected lower spray arm, and that's working to perfection. Let me go ahead and select now the upper spray arm, so upper on. So what's going to happen is the circulation pump is going to stop momentarily. The diverter is going to shift positions, or it's going to try to shift positions, and then it is going to go, the water is going to come out of the upper spray arm. This could take, and you could see it right there, right below. It says, please allow approximately 1 minute for the correct position of the diverter. It could take up to a minute, but in this case, it's not, right? As you can see right now, the water is coming out of the upper spray arm, so it took less than a minute for that diverter to find the position that I selected. But just, the app is telling you it could take up to a minute, all right? So clearly I can see that it is working perfectly well. And also I want to know if my main board can see this, right? Not just with my eyes, but can my main board actually detect the position? So to do that, I look at the watch box, and I can clearly see here the diverter position showing upper spray arm system. So yes, my main board is detecting the right position of that diverter. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is silverware on. So we press that little button, silverware. Again, the circulation pump will stop momentarily, then it'll activate, and water should come out of the silverware wash area. And it is, all right? Very, very cool stuff here. Water's coming out of that nozzle. So everything's working really, really cool. And I think that's enough test. Let's just go ahead and take a look one more time at the watch box. Yep, my diverter position clearly tells me that silverware wash is on, and I am totally satisfied that this is functioning 100% well. Now, if this was showing upper spray arm, then I know there's a problem. Either with my diverter, something is wrong, right? So at that point, of course, I'd have to be a technician, go in there, inspect, make sure there's nothing blocking or anything like that. But at the very least, SmartHQ service has pointed me in the right direction. All right, so let's go ahead and shut this off. And again, SmartHQ tells us that before you leave, we need to drain all the water. So just in the interest of safety, I don't want to flood my kitchen over here. We're just going to activate the drain pump. So here we go. All right, and again, I want to reemphasize the frequency of that water pressure sensor. Again, the frequency right now is low, but as water exits the machine, that number will begin to go up, and it's going to end at about 44 point something hertz. Okay, so I think I've beaten that one to death. If you don't know this by now, I don't know if you'll ever learn it. No, I'm just kidding. I know you're very smart out there. All right, let's go ahead and quickly move on. And the next thing we're going to run is actually the circulate test, okay? And this is a subsystem test of the entire circulation pump components. So we're going to check the drain pump, the water valve, the circulation pump, and of course that diverter to make sure that it is all functioning to perfection. Now, to begin, we're going to go ahead and simply go back here to the demonstration. We need to get out of operate loads. So we're going to hit the back key button. And now we're going to move to diagnostic tests right there. And in diagnostic tests, we are going to select, let me put myself in the camera so you can see me here. We're going to select circulate test. All right, so here's the circulate test, just like you're seeing on your screen right there. And of course, the first thing I want to do here is just kind of show you the instructions, go through the instructions a little bit. SmartHQ service is telling you, step 1, manual step, very important. Make sure the door is closed and the pressure sensor reads between 44.27 and 43.94 hertz. Why is this important? Because, first of all, the door has to be closed, but the pressure sensor has to detect that there is no water in there. Again, we don't want to flood this because in the event that pressure sensor is not functioning correctly and there's still water in there and the machine continues to fill, we could flood that customer's floor. So we don't want that to happen. So let's go ahead and check our frequency. And it is indeed reading 44.01 hertz, which means I'm safe. Step number one, completed. Again, very, very important. That's why I keep emphasizing this number. All right, step number two is simply click the start button. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Boop. And now the test will begin. And of course, in the interest of safety, the first the first component that's going to run is the drain pump, right? It's going to run for approximately, it says right here, 70 seconds. So it's going to run for that much amount of time to make sure that the dishwasher cavity is completely drained, right? There's absolutely no water in there. And again, if we look at our pressure sensor parameter there, it is showing 44.04 hertz, which indicates we have an empty dishwasher cavity. All right, let's put this down for a little bit. And we have a few seconds to go. So while that's sort of draining, I want to just quickly mention over here, my friends, our website. I just want to kind of remind, for those of you that may have joined us a little bit late, we do have a website, smarthqservice.com, where you'll find a ton of useful information. And you can also call us at 502-714-2029 to place an order. You can email us at smarthqservice.support@geappliances.com if you need any help related to your appliance or to your, SmartHQ service connectivity. All right, let's take a look over here at what's happening. And we can see that the cavity is indeed filling. Now, the door got a little bit foggy because of the hot water in there, but in a little bit, the water is going to splash around. You're going to be able to see. But clearly, we can see that water is coming in. And if we needed further reinforcement, we can go to the watch box feature. And we can see that as water is entering, the pressure is going down. The frequency is going down. The water pressure is rising, but the frequency is going down. And it's going to end at about, again, 40.77 to 40.44 hertz, just like step number 4 tells us right there. All right. So now we can see the water inside sort of moving around in there. And there it goes. There goes my lower spray arm. And let's take a look at the diverter position status column right there. It is telling you that the lower spray arm is on. So right here, lower spray arm system clockwise, and it is spinning in the clockwise rotation direction. So that tells us what our diverter position is. Again, very, very cool design of the application that allows you to communicate between the control board and, of course, the interface here, which tells you if everything is functioning properly. And as we can see, it is 100% functioning properly. So the purpose of this test is actually to see if water is able to be channeled correctly to different areas of the dishwasher, because in some cases you may get a complaint where the customer might state that the dishes on the lower rack are coming out clean, but the ones on the top are not. Now, again, this could be because the customer selected lower rack only, but in the event that they did indeed select, to wash the entire cavity, that could be a problem with your diverter. In this test right here that we're running, this is an excellent way to be able to tell if the problem is related to the diverter or something else. Okay. So again, this is going to run for approximately 2 minutes. It's going to stay in the lower spray arm system for about, I'm going to say, give it about 2 minutes. And then it's going to transition over to the upper spray arm, as you can see in step number 6 there in the instructions below. So we'll give it a little bit more time for it to get to that point, and then we'll see if it actually does transition. Now remember, during the transition period, okay, what's going to happen, very, very important that you understand this, my friends. When it tries to go to the upper spray arm, it's not immediately going to go there, okay? It's the circulation pump motor has to stop, and then the disc of that diverter will rotate. Then it'll start the circulation pump again, and it'll try to channel that water to the upper spray arm. But if it doesn't do it right away, the circulation pump motor will stop, and then it will try one more time. Let's take a look. So there it is. It stopped. It tried to move, but obviously water is still coming out of the lower spray arm. So the main board detects that water is still not coming from the top. So it's going to try again. And there it is. Now the upper spray arm is working. That's where the water is coming out from. And the diverter position shows upper spray arm system. Okay, so that's where we talk about the fact that it takes approximately 1 minute for that diverter to find its position. So you have to be a little patient, right? It's not going to happen instantly. And again, depending on the system that you are using, the dishwasher that you're working on, it could be a little bit different. The times might be different. And that's why on the test itself here, it does say that this test could take approximately 7 to 11 minutes, depending on the model that you're working with. All right. So that being said, my friends, we're going to let this run, but I want to talk to you a little bit about that diverter, okay? Because I think it's important that you understand how it functions. So let me go ahead and explain to you what this particular diverter works. And this one is found on newer machines. Okay, this is a 4-port driver. It's an active 4-port driver. And the way that it accomplishes the switching of the positions is by briefly turning off the circulation pump motor. And then when that motor turns back on, the diverter will be held in place by the water pressure, right, that's created by the circulation pump. Now, when the circulation pump is in the off position, the discs inside will sit, or the disc, I should say, will sit halfway between two ports. So in other words, no water will be allowed to, to be channeled anywhere. When the circulation pump turns on, this is going to rotate the disc counterclockwise 1/8 of a revolution. And at this point, the water will be, pumped into that active 4-port driver, and the water will be channeled through the appropriate port, right? So either the lower spray arm, upper spray arm, whatever the case may be. Now, when the pump turns off, that disc is going to drop, but it's going to rotate 1/8 of a revolution. So this is a really cool design. It's kind of like a mechanical design where pressure is added, it rotates a little bit, pressure is taken away, it drops, but it continues to rotate. Pressure is added, it continues to rotate 1/8 of a revolution in the counterclockwise direction. And that's what allows you to change positions so easily. Now, what's really cool about this is also that it provides a proper seal to the pump, the motor, and conduit adapter, which of course will help prevent leaks. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the way that the main board, the control board, detects which position the diverter is in is by the internal reed switches, right? So the internal reed switches and the magnets will align, and that is how the main board knows where that water is coming out of. So right now we see the water is coming out of the bottom nozzle, that's silverware blast nozzle, and clearly my diverter position shows silverware wash. So that means that everything is working in harmony. Everything is working to perfection, exactly the way that I intended it to be. All right, my friends, let's quickly move on because we're sort of running out of time here. We're going to sort of stop this drain to finish, and we're going to move to the final topic over here, which is, of course, the dishwasher not draining. All right. So my friends, as the dishwasher, again, the dishwasher is draining right now. But if it wasn't draining properly, one of the things that we want to show you here is just some tips, some very basic things. First of all, make sure the customer has cleaned their filter. All right. If they haven't, I've seen these thousands of homes. The filter is very, very dirty. Just take it out, give it a nice little wash for them, please, if you will. All right. Also, take a look at the drain line. Make sure that a high drain loop has been installed. And if they have a garbage disposal, make sure that discharge plug has been knocked out. Now, that's not really your responsibility, but just advise the customer that, if the garbage disposal was recently installed, it could be that the installer did not knock out that discharge plug. And of course, that's going to cause the unit to drain. Now, one thing I want to mention about SmartHQ service, my friends, is that we do have on-demand videos here that show you a lot of these repairs, right? And you can watch these anytime. And one of the ones that I found is this one right here that says that the dishwasher control board fuse may be open, and this will prevent the drain pump from operating. So let's go to the videotape and take a look at what that tells us.
To access the new main control with removable fuse, remove one 1/4 inch hex
All right, my friends, unfortunately, the little tape seems to have a glitch there, but what I want to explain to you here real quick is that board, that PCB does have a fuse, as you saw earlier. And what's going to happen is that if that fuse is open, it's going to render the the drain pump and the circulation pump useless. So what you need to do there, my friends, is simply take out the board. And again, I apologize, the video didn't play. You need to take out the PCB, replace that fuse. But the first thing you need to do is also check to make sure that your drain pump is not shorted, and also your circulation pump is not shorted. A short on either one of those two components will cause that fuse to sort of blow open. And of course, that will render both of those components useless. So again, the video was supposed to show you that the circulation pump could be shorted, or the drain pump could be shorted, and that's what would cause a fuse to open. So inspect, replace a fuse, make sure that whatever component is shorted, you replace it as well, and you should be ready to rock and roll. All right, my friends, unfortunately, that is all the information that I have for you today. I want to thank you again so much for watching. We will see you on the next YouTube live session, which is next month. So thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.